Welcome back, everybody, to Attract and Stand Out Virtual Summit. I'm your host, Darlene Hawley. For those of you that don't know me, I'm a personal branding and business clarity coach, and I help ambitious, heart-centered online entrepreneurs, and I teach them how to create a successful personal brand and business by having a solid foundation so that they can share their message with the world, attract dream clients, and make more money doing what they love. This year's summit is all about building a profitable personal brand and business that allows you to authentically show up and connect with your audience. And I'm so excited for today's guest. I'll be interviewing Alex Stern, who is a social media strategist, a best-selling marketing author, and the founder of My PA Planner, a business, life, and goal-setting journal. Alex started her own business in London in her late 20s and knows what it's like to juggle business and family commitments. A few years ago, she felt overwhelmed and swamped by work and family commitments and decided something needed to change. So she set out on a mission to create a planner that would help her to be more productive, stay focused on what's really important for her. Last year, she created a successful launch with her PA planner, and this year she has a brand new edition out, which all of you guys are going to love. And just a little hint, you're going to get a copy of it yourself. Please help me welcome Alex. Hi, Alex. How are you?
Hi, Darlene. Thank you so much for inviting me back this year. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so excited to have you back as well. And I'm excited for our conversation because I know how important it is to make sure that as busy moms and busy entrepreneurs that we find time to make sure that we do everything that's important to us and that we're balancing that in a way that makes sense for our business as well as for the self-care, for how we take care of ourselves and for how we raise our families. So let's share a little bit about your backstory. I know that you started your business in your late 20s. Tell us a little bit about like what your entrepreneur journeyship has looked like.
Okay, well, I worked for a hotel company for a long time, and then I always wanted to start my own business. So I saw a gap in the market in London in the early 90s, actually. And it was there was a trend that people were staying from sort of overseas countries like America, the United States, Australia. They were coming to stay in London in service departments rather than hotels because they were staying for like a week or more. So I thought, oh, this is quite a nice little business if I start a booking agency. So that was my first business. It was called Capital City Apartments. I launched it kind of just before the internet was about to explode. I had then the internet came along and I had this great website and I was ranked #1 in Google. Imagine,
Yeah,
imagine,
that's awesome.
now. So yeah, it was a fun business and it was really successful and I enjoyed it. Then I got married and due to sort of family commitments, I moved out of London and I did run the business for a couple of years. But it became increasingly difficult because some of the legal stuff changed in London about shortlets. And then I had my son, and in the end, I just had to sort of say goodbye to the business really because it was just really getting difficult to run that from 300 miles away. So I had a career break, and then I went back into marketing because I love marketing. And at the time, I was looking after my mother. Who had dementia, sadly, and also my son. And I decided to find out all about social media marketing, Facebook, everything. So I just literally immersed myself in social media and for 2 years and wrote these 9 books. And the series was called Make Social Media Work for Your Business. And I did 1 book for each, for Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, Pinterest. And then there was 1 big book. So that was it. And then I launched my sort of social media business alongside that. So went along doing that for quite a while, but also felt the stress of a lot of overwhelm because I had family commitments. I had sick parents. I had a son who was sort of, quite young, early teens and stuff. Yeah, I was being pulled, left, right, in every direction. And I also being a very passionate person, I really wanted to just get on and do my business, but I just didn't have that time. I suspect we've all felt like that, suddenly it's time to pick the children up from school or, I had to take mum to the doctor. Something was always pulling me away and I was like, so I felt that I needed something to keep me sane and to keep all my ideas. I'd have so many different notebooks for this and that and so many documents on my computer. And I just came up with this idea that I needed a planner. I think around the time, there were a few other planners being made, and I got them, but they just didn't do it for me. They didn't have what I wanted at all. So I trawled the shops and things, but couldn't find anything. And then I decided just to create my own layout, and it worked, and it was great, and I loved it. So I did that for a while, and then, as you know, we met in B school, and we all sort of communicate and engage in that group quite a lot. And I just felt that there was a common theme, really, of a lot of overwhelmed entrepreneurs, who we all have the same problem, family sort of family commitments, work commitments, passion, that entrepreneurial spirit where you've got so many ideas. So I just decided that, this would be a great tool for so many people, basically. And so I created it and did the Kickstarter last year. And yeah, it went quite well, very well.
That's amazing. And I love that, because you're right, so many of us as entrepreneurs, we're balancing starting a business. Some of us are still working in corporate or still working a job, and we've got family and volunteer activities and passion projects, and we're multi-passionate. We have all these different things going on. So I love that instead of staying stuck and trying to use all these different tools and, having 16 different notebooks, that you created something that you felt would work really well for you. And because it worked so well for you, you were able to create something that you're able to put out into the market and to share with other busy entrepreneurs who are trying to balance all these different things. What was how did that process work for you? Did you just instantly know every single detail of the planner that you felt would work for you? Or was it a slow build where you kind of started adding things as you went? Or what did that look like?
I kind of had a really good idea what I wanted, but also it was a slow build because it needed to do kind of everything for me. So, and I wanted it to be as simple as possible because I'm not a complex person. I like things to be very, very simple. So I needed to work out a system that would be simple and that would work. So the thing that took me the longest to design was the weekly schedule. Because it's not just a diary. There's places where you can put your to-dos or your, regular projects you need to do. And then, there's the goals, your daily goals that you put at the beginning of every day. That took me a while to sort of design. And then it was where we're going to put all the ideas, and so I had a good idea of what I wanted to do, but it was just getting it into a format that would work. Do you see what I mean? That was the hardest bit. It was the layout of everything.
Yeah, a little bit of maybe testing and measuring too. I'm sure you probably created it one way to start with, and then you would start using it and you're like, well, this would actually be easier if I tweaked this or if I made this small change.
Yeah, definitely. Like the area for notes on the weekly schedule, originally it was at the bottom, and I thought, this is so annoying. I mean, literally, you just have to, this is a new 221 I'm using here, but I thought, I don't want to be writing my notes down here because you fall off the page. I want to write them at the top, if I've got anything, so I put the notes at the top rather than many diaries there at the bottom. So little things like that about the layout, those are the things that really took the time. And it was just to try and get everything. So you didn't have to go anywhere else in the week. It was all there.
Yeah. And one of the things that I fell in love with it last year after we had done the first summit and I had you on as a guest, and I had downloaded your free copy of the digital version of it. And I was impressed by how I could use it as a mom and my day-to-day kind of family routine stuff. But there's so many details for running my business that are inside the planner. The beginning section where you help us set up what our goals are, what we're working on, what we want to accomplish during the year. There's a whole entire section that's a massive brain dump of everything that you could possibly want to think through for your business. Was that a formula that you had created prior for part of your social media marketing business, or where did that come from?
Yeah, do you know what? That's such an interesting question, darling, because you've taken me right back now. Where did I find all that out? So yeah, it was definitely to do with an awful lot of the research that I did on social media. A lot about your brand, who you are as a brand. I love planning. So, and I did a lot of reading about it as well. And I really wanted to create a really good business plan. So I think if you get the planner, whether it's the digital or the bound version, if you actually complete that plan at the beginning of the planner, you're going to have an excellent working document at the end of it. I think, just doing that plan in detail is going to take a hell of a lot of overwhelm away and really get you focused on what you need to do. Because I think as entrepreneurs, there's so much out there, like flying at us, podcasting, video, this, social media, Facebook, Twitter. It's like, it's crazy. And if you're not careful, you've got no idea what to do when. And I think this is what I was trying to do, was to really drill down and focus and get to think, actually, it's not that complicated. If you follow a system, it's likely to work, and then when you've done that, you write your projects down, and then you write the tasks that you need to do those projects, and then you fit them into your monthly and your weekly. So it just takes all that worry and angst out of everything. Well, I think it does anyway.
Yeah, no, and I would agree, because I think that's one of the reasons why I fell in love with my PA planner is I'm a very detailed, like, I like to look at the whole entire big picture, and I like to break that down into like monthly, weekly, daily, hourly, like tasks, so that that's broken up very strategically, so that I don't feel completely overwhelmed. Because a lot of my clients and myself, even when there's a big project that we're taking on, like I'll just use like the virtual summit, for example. Like the virtual summit, like overall, it's a big thing to chew on, right? Like it's a big project to take on. And for me, 2 months ago, when I was starting to put all this together, it was overwhelming when I looked at like the big picture of it. But as I started breaking it down into the actual steps that you're going to do and which days I was going to do which steps, that's when it takes that overwhelm away, when we break it down so small that it's like, oh, today I only have to do X, Y, Z. I don't have to do this whole entire big project. I just have to do, step 1, step 2, step 3. And tomorrow I'll worry about step 4, step 5, step 6. I don't have to worry about those today, though. And I feel like with the planning system that you have all of that kind of in one central location, because a lot of times we create, big business plans. Like I work with all my clients to create their business plans, and I'm in the process right now. When we're filming this, I'm working with my clients at the end of 2019 to get ready for 2020. And if we don't break it down into small bite-sized steps, it's just overwhelming and it's stressful. But your planner has all of that put into one place. You can have your business plan right there in the same book as your daily and your weekly and your monthly tasks. You don't have to have them like all over the place, right? Because so many of us write a business plan and we hang it on our wall, or it's, in a journal or in a notebook next to us, but we forget to open it. Where when it's in the beginning of my PA planner, like it just has everything kind of centralized, and you're able to like carry it with you at all times and know, oh, this is what I'm focused on. This is where my priority is. And I think it allows you to look at the different tasks that are coming at you. And if somebody comes to you and wants you to collaborate on a project or ask you to do something, you can look at what your values are and what you're working on for the year and go, you know what, I'm so sorry. That actually doesn't align with the direction I'm going with my business right now. Like, because you can be really clear because you have it mapped out so well. Like it's easier to say yes or no to projects when people bring them to you when you have a plan.
Definitely. I mean, I think what I particularly love about it is, apart from helping you to be successful in your business, I think you've really hit the nail on the head. It just makes you happier, because you've got this thing which you can write everything in it, and like you said, you really hit the nail, Darlene. You don't have to worry about tomorrow. Mm-hmm. You do, like on Friday, Sunday night rather, I do my plan for the week. And I schedule everything and I time block everything. So I know I'm going to do my Facebook, whatever. I'm going to do my newsletter here. I'm going to do, and I fill my week up, and then it's gone and my mind is empty. So when I wake up on Monday morning, I go straight and it just tells me what I need to do. And there's no worry. And that's what I used to get. I used to carry all this stuff in my head. I've got to do this and I've got to do that. And that would be a good idea. And then I was all over the place. This way I know that I'm getting so much done. And the other thing is it makes you more realistic with your time, because I think I don't know about you, but I always think I've got more time than I actually do.
Yes.
So, you see this long day stretching ahead, kids at school or whatever. My son's not at school anymore, it's uni, but you might see a long day stretching ahead and you think, oh, I've got loads of time. But actually, when you map out the number of things you can do, it's not a huge amount of things. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. And I like to do the same thing as you. I map out usually Fridays at the end of my business day. The last thing I do before I close up my laptop for the weekend is I grab out my planner and I make sure that I know what Monday and the rest of the week's going to look like, because I don't want to have to think about it over the weekend. I don't want to like second guess myself and make sure that, or have things in my mind, like you were saying, where we're waking up at 3 a.m. and it's something that's on our mind, or we're like, we should do this, this, and this. It's so nice just to sit down and say, okay, Friday night, end of day, I'm going to write out what next week looks like. And then Monday morning when I come in the office, after I get my kids to school, I'm able to just grab my planner, look and see, okay, it's 9 o'clock. This is, I have an interview or a coffee appointment, or I'm working on my blog and creating content. I can pick and choose and make whatever's in my calendar I can just use. So what are like your favorite tips for, whether it's my PA planner, if it's any planner, if there's somebody's using something else, what's like your favorite time management tips for making sure that you're doing the things that you want to be doing and the timing that you have?
Okay, well, definitely let's go for the big one, which is setting your big goals at the beginning of the year. Definitely, that's really good. And then obviously you're going to break them down into your projects that you're going to do and your tasks. But ongoing, I mean, it's what we do in our everyday lives, isn't it, that's going to make us successful and the best use of our time. So I think the one that you just mentioned, and I think it's lovely how you do your planning on a Friday. In fact, just listening to you, I think I might change mine from a Sunday to a Friday. Because, like you say, then you can just forget about it and you can relax. But so that is definitely one. And the next one, which is just a game changer, which everybody needs to do. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people are already doing this, especially if you're billing out your time, or you're a web designer, or a designer, or a solicitor, or something like that. You're used to billing out time, and therefore you have to schedule your time. But if you're not, I think a lot of people aren't doing this, and that is, to what you were just saying, is time blocking. It's putting all those tasks that you need to do for the week into your planner. And basically, if it's not scheduled, it doesn't exist, literally. And that is just my biggest tip. Just map out your week. Look at the time realistically that you do. If you have a full day, great. If you have a day where you have to take the kids to school and what time you're picking them up, you need a lunch break, put that in. Maybe you want to do your meditation, put that in. Maybe you want to engage on social media for, I don't know, half an hour or something, put it in. Checking emails, put it in. Because everything we do, whether it's getting up to make a cup of tea, it takes time. Yeah. So, when you schedule it, you just make the best possible use of your time. And it also makes it makes you intentional. And then the other great thing about it is sometimes you may be doing things that aren't actually that necessary. And if they're in your plan and you've scheduled them, look at them and think to yourself, actually, that isn't really that important. Why am I spending that time on this, on this thing? So, you can review the way you're using your time as well. So I think that is, it's the biggest tip out of any of them. I think that is so important, literally. And you can get so much done. And it just like we were saying, it takes all the worry out, all the anxiety about, oh, what do I need to do? It's there, set in stone. And then at the end of the week, you can see whether it's working or not. And it's all a work in progress, isn't it? Nothing is set in stone. And I think sometimes people are scared of planning because they think, oh, I've got a plan, which means I'm going to have to stick to it rigidly. And what if it all goes wrong and it doesn't work? But that's the whole point, you change it. You change the plan. The plan can always be changed. So let me think. The other tip that I would say would be batching, like when you're getting out to do, maybe you do videos, do as many videos as you can in one batch, as many social media posts as you can in one batch. So I'd say those were 3 pretty good tips.
Yeah, those are amazing. And I liked where you started going to after the second tip you were mentioning, like reassessing. So when you get to Friday, you can kind of look back at your week too and say what worked really well this week or what didn't work too well, or maybe you don't get something done on your list, like asking yourself, why wasn't I able to get that accomplished? And then like reassessing and learning from that. So if you realize that, oh, I didn't get all my blogs finished because I only gave myself 1 hour, but I actually needed 2 hours to finish it, like using that. And then next week when you're planning out your week for Monday, give yourself 2 hours instead of one. So as you're going, just continue to learn like what your habits are and what's working well and what's not working, and tweak it so that every day it's getting a little bit easier and a little bit better.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, darling, that is such a great point, because you can really, then you start being more and more effective with your time, because you're like, well, I know that only takes me half an hour, so I can do that in half an hour. And suddenly, after a couple of weeks, you're getting really, really good at planning. So like I said, it's like a work in progress, and you can review, you can go back, and you can, find out actually what you've done. And it's great at the end of the week to look at your packed jam full planner full of notes about what you've done. You just feel so great on a Friday that you've actually achieved all that. And I can honestly say that if it wasn't for my planner, I don't think I'd get done half what I get done now.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Like, I'm super excited. For those of you, I actually have my own copy this year of the My PA Planner 2020 edition, which I'm super excited about. Last year, as part of the summit, I had downloaded the digital copy and I printed out some of it. But it's a lot because Alex has got so many amazing details into it. I was like, my printer's going to be mad at me if I print this whole entire thing out myself. So I'm super excited to use it this year to brainstorm and master plan what my 2020 is going to look like, and then break it down into every single bite-sized piece. And also using it for, like, you have like little details in there, like to exercise, to meditate. Did you drink your water today? Like there's little glasses at the bottom of each day. Like, and that's something that I always struggle with. So it's going to be a constant reminder, like, oh yeah, you only checked off 1 glass of water today, Darlene. Like, you better get back into the kitchen and take a break and grab another cup, or just to be mindful of like our whole entire self, not just our business, not just our mom life or our family life, but looking at, our self-love and our self-care, which is, something that I'm super passionate about as well. But I have a couple of fun questions for you, Alex, to as we start to wrap up the interview. So I have 4 rapid fire questions for you that I'm asking all of my guests this year, just so we can kind of get to know you a little bit more and kind of how you work. But I'm curious, do you have a morning routine? And if so, what does that look like?
Yeah, I do. It's get up and go to the gym. I need to move first thing in the morning. And it just starts me up fantastically for the day. It's just the endorphins, everything. It just wakes me up, blows away the cobwebs. So yeah, I definitely have to do that every day.
I love that. That's awesome. And then which book has made the biggest impact on your growth?
Okay, you're probably going to be a bit blown away by this, but the Bible probably.
Awesome. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm reading Marie Forleo's Everything is Figure-Outable at the moment. What else have I read? Oh my gosh, you really got me there. I've also got a couple of books by Rachel Hollis that I haven't read either yet. And awesome. The Motivation Manifesto by Brendan Bouchard is amazing.
Awesome. I have not checked out that last one, but I'm actually currently reading Marie Forleo's Everything is Figure-Outable myself at the moment. And it's amazing. So that's a fun one. We'll have to circle back and chit chat about that one. All right. So if you could think of one thing that you could have done different when you started your business versus based off of what you know now, what would that one thing be? If you could go back in time, what could you tell your early self to make everything easier?
I would be, this is talking about my own business. It's being really analytical and measure everything and make sure that you can measure everything and see what's working and what isn't. Because it takes a long time to go back and do that again. So when you're putting an ad out there, make sure you get your Facebook pixel in there. All these little details that you're like, oh, do I really have to do that? Make sure you've got your Google Analytics working properly. See, what pay. Those sort of things are really important. And they are the grind. Do you know what I mean? They are the things in the back that nobody, well, some people like doing, geeky people, and that's all respect to geeky people, but I'm not a particularly geeky person. But it's that stuff that is really important, those figures, you know, because otherwise you could be wasting your time, definitely.
Yeah, I completely agree. And testing and measuring is something that I work with my clients on too, because you're right. If you create an ad and you spend money behind it, but you don't know if it actually works for you, if it actually got you clients or got you people to your newsletter list or whatever it is, if you don't test and measure it, then you don't know if it works and you don't know if you should continue to do it or not. So
yeah, like, you know, make sure it's going to, you know, a different landing page to another advert, you know, just so you know what's going on. And those things, you know, we all know how long it takes to automate things and to do email sequences and it takes time and brain power. And to go back and then have to do it all over again. So just be, you know, strategic at the beginning, I think. And also test everything, test all your links, all those sort of things. Because there's so many times you'll find that you think that it's all working and then you're like, well, why isn't my ad working? And then you'll find that, you know, stupidly the link isn't working, things like that.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. And the last question to tie everything back together for the theme of the summit. What does attract and stand out mean to you?
Okay, definitely. I always think a lot about this, actually, Darlene. I think it means being authentic, being your authentic self, yes. Really caring about your audience and what they want to hear and to learn. And being, you know, passionate about your subject and creating great content.
Yes. Oh, so good. Awesome. Well, I know you have a free gift for everybody. Can you tell us about your gift this year?
Yeah, definitely. So I would love to offer anybody who's listening the full PDF of my PA planner. So it's the, you know, the full 2020 business planner and weekly, monthly schedule or whatever for the whole year. Yeah. So you can send me an email at mypaplanner@gmail.com. I'm sure Darlene will put all the details in anyway.
Yes, yeah. I'll have all the details for all the free gifts that we're offering as part of the summit on the gift page. Plus, it'll be below this video as well. So that's an amazing gift, and definitely grab it because I'm going to tell all of you, like, it's amazing how good it is.
But one thing, Darlene, can I just say?
Yeah.
You do have to use it. You do have to use it to get good at planning, literally.
Yeah. Yeah. So after you get the gift, don't forget to actually download it and start using the tools.
You
and
know,
I will say my biggest regret last year was after I opened up my free digital copy of the My PA Planner for 2019 is I wish at that point I would have just ordered it and gotten my own personal copy of it, because it's a lot of pages and there's so much great amazingness in there. You'll want to get your own copy too. So once you look at it, see if it's going to be a good fit for you. And if it is, and you don't already have your 2020 planner, like, check out the actual physical copy of it because it's amazing. And I have my copy right here, and you guys are going to want yours too. And then where can everybody find you so that they can hang out with you and follow along with you on social media? Where do you like to hang out the most?
So all my handles are My PA Planner. So my website's www.mypaplanner, and all my social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all My PA Planner.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you, Alex, so much for being a part of the summit for the second year in a row. Thank you for all of your tips and tools and resources, and thank you for all of the heart that you put into your My PA Planner, because you literally have thought of every detail that most of us would have not even thought about tracking. So thank you for doing that for all of us. We so appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Darlene. I really enjoyed it. It's been lovely as usual.